This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Good evening, I'm Sanjay Pinto. How safe is your child at school while being dropped on campus or picked up after the bell rings? Unlike the Coimbatore tragedy, the Chennai police has managed to bring about a happy ending to the almost 24-hour kidnap drama involving a Class 9 student of DAV school, Mogappair. The boy was reunited with his parents this afternoon. The police commissioner says a minimal ransom was paid in response to the 3 crore rupee demand. But every time you kiss your children and send them off to school, as parents, you are now worried. You have every reason to be apprehensive because somewhere out there, criminals, even first-timers, are out to snatch the apple of your eye for a quick buck. Over the last couple of days, the focus in our schools has shifted from fees to security. That's right, to security, the safety of your beloved children. Be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, for the initial knee-jerk reactions from all quarters. Be prepared for that panic button that will be pressed. On the news tonight, we are asking the big question. Post-kidnapping, have we learnt our lesson? And we will direct this poser to Chennai's Additional Commissioner of Police, Mr. Shakil Akhtar, Mr. Vel Murugan, founder and principal of Velamal Group of Schools, that's 55,000 students under his sway, Jayashri, a parent, and Meera, a Class 8 student. But first, it's over to my colleague Evelyn Matthew for the headlines.
Well, a mix of politics, crime, technology and Diwali dhoom coming your way in the next 30 minutes. Let's take a look at the top stories in the state and the city. The city police who rescued the kidnapped Kirti Vasan revealed that a minimum ransom was demanded, but the identity of the abductors is still not known.
Minimal amount was paid, very minimal. It is a tactical operation. In fact, I will disclose the full operation. Just wait for a week.
Is safety a utopian concept restricted to the textbooks? Teachers remain unmoved by the chronicles of kidnaps.
Just because there's a camera, it's not our work to see the children. They should not be like that. They should be also alert.
Come hell or high water, Jayalalitha presses demands on Kaveri water for Tamil Nadu, but political watchers say this could be just another poll plank. Aircel becomes the first telecom service provider of the 3G in Chennai. Actor Surya receives the first video call.
This technology is almost close to God, I can say. It's everywhere. It's not just delivering, but how fast.
A green Diwali could be heavy on your wallet while customers are still skeptical. Businessmen register rocketing sales.
I'll go for a eco-friendly crackers only. If it is for my children, they'll go for definitely a louder one.
And no street fight this. Street dancers from USA break a leg for a Diwali special performance. Let's also take a look at what's making news in the national quarters. Jairam Ramesh says there has to be a harsher penalty for environment violations by builders like Adarsh. At a crucial All India meet, the Congress leaves out corruption from its agenda but targets the RSS on terror links. The RBI cracks down on home loans and puts a ceiling on the amount banks can lend. Gavaskar tells NDTV the BCCI owes him money for the last 3 years at the IPL. Over to our executive editor Sanjay Pinto for the big question tonight.
Thank you, Evelyn. In fact, joining us in our studio is Mr. Vel Murugan, who is the founder and principal of the Velamal Group of Schools, 11 schools across Tamil Nadu, sir?
Yes.
And 55,000 students under your sway.
Yes.
Are you suitably worried now? Or will there be a knee-jerk reaction? What have you done in all your schools to ensure that these instances don't happen? I know there is only so much that we can do, but in terms of precautions, what have you done, sir? Do you have CCTVs at the entrance?
Yes, we do have CCTVs in our schools. What we have done is, through our principals, we have asked them to sensitize all our students first. In fact, I was checking with my principal before I was coming to the studios. During the prayers, we have just started alerting our students that it's a routine activity for them to come to school and go back home. in between, if they come across any stranger, or if they get, especially higher class students trying to get a lift through motorbikes or something, they have to be a bit cautious. And we have also sensitized our teachers whenever they send small kids, do they hand over the children very safe to the respective van drivers, or they are boarding our school buses properly, or to the parents properly.
All right, let's also find out what happened today. The 24-hour kidnapping drama came to an end early this afternoon when 13-year-old Kritivasan was returned to his parents safe and sound. The boy was abducted from right outside his school yesterday, an incident that has left the entire city of Chennai shocked. But for the men in khaki, the case is not closed just yet. The culprits are still on the loose, perhaps on the prowl, and the mission is only partially accomplished. Our crime reporter Salim spent the last 24 hours at the Chennai police headquarters to bring you this report.
Time 2:45 p.m. Almost 24 hours after their son was kidnapped by some strangers for a huge ransom, the parents heaved a huge sigh of relief. After deploying 36 teams and mounting a 400-men-strong operation, the police finally rescued 13-year-old Kirtivasan, the son of a granite businessman. No less than the city's top cop took personal responsibility for this case.
Our main objective was to get the boy back. And I think we succeeded in it. And it was a very, very nerve-wracking experience of whole night. And only at 2:45, within it's almost 24 hours, at 2:45 this afternoon, we heaved a sigh of relief.
The police have refused to divulge the what and the how of this operation, only confirming that some money was given to the kidnappers to get the boy to safety. But with the criminals still at large, the city's guardians have a huge task cut out for them in the coming days.
Minimal amount was paid, very minimal. It is a tactical operation. In fact, I will disclose the full operation. Just wait for a week. Amount it was just a minimal amount. It was only a minimal amount, but
Police say that the culprits have been restricted within the city limits by all means possible and that any and all exit routes have been blocked. They believe that they will nab the culprits soon and promise to make this case serve as a deterrent. In Chennai with Salim, this is Ashmit Kumar for NDTV Hindu.
Even before Tamil Nadu could recover from a shocking case of abduction and murder of a sibling duo in Coimbatore, another 24-hour kidnapping drama in Chennai has shocked the people of the state, particularly parents. Our education reporter Krishnamurthy did a recce across Chennai to find out if schools and parents have learnt a lesson or two on basic precautions.
The shocking case of kidnap of a student right outside a school in Mogappair has sent a chill down the spine of many parents across the city.
Yesterday
night I saw the news in the TV and I also cautioned my child, if something happens like this, you should shout and you should be aware and you should call somebody else or try to bite him or such preventive measures I have told them.
Call it a practical solution or a knee-jerk reaction. The Commissioner of Chennai Police has asked all schools in the city to install CCTV cameras in their premises.
Manual monitoring is very important. That's better than this fixing up the camera also.
Our dispersal ellarum poi mudiyiravaru naanga PT masters irpom. Road la endha pakkamo yaar nikrangara note pannite da irpom. Police karangala vida enga PT teachers sincerity avum punctuality பண்ணுவாங்க.
Many parents claim to do a background check on their driver at a surface level, but they feel that trust is the only thing they can lend their shoulders to.
Is whether he is having the license, on where he is staying, what is parents' details, all those things we used to collect it. But you don't know, maybe after a period of time what connection he is developing and how he is trying to do. That is something, yes, of course it's a question mark.
அப்படினா டிரைவர்லாம் கொஞ்சம் வீட்டுக்கு உண்மையாக உழைக்கணும். யாருக்கு இட்டு வராங்களோ குழந்தைங்களோ அவங்களுக்கு அதுவும் நம்ம புள்ள மாதிரி அவங்களுக்கு இட்டு வரணும். டிரைவர் அவங்க கொஞ்சம் ஒழுங்கா இருந்தா எல்லாமே கரெக்ட்டா இருக்கும்.
Has safety for children become confined to textbooks alone? In Chennai with reporter Krishnamurthy, Kuku Alex for NDTV Hindu.
All right, let's now go across to one of the heroes of that operation, Mr. Shakil Akhtar, Additional Commissioner of Police, Chennai Law and Order. Mr. Nakhtar, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's a busy day and I know your night is going to be young. What are the precautions that parents and students can take, sir? These are difficult times, and also very often we know PTA meetings, Parent-Teacher Association meetings are held for common concerns. Of late they've been busy with school fees, but now, as we said earlier, the focus is now clearly on security. What are some of these precautions that they can all take, sir? Practical tips that you can offer parents who are watching us tonight.
As we know that the school children generally they use private vans. Apart from the school buses, I think school buses are very much limited in Chennai area. This my observation is that the antecedents of van drivers are generally not verified, and it is very important for any institutions, especially that school, it is at the highest on them that they should ensure that they should check the antecedents of van drivers. That's number one. Number two, which has been noticed, that there is a prescribed limit about the number of kids in the vans, that should not be more than 18. But that point is also not adhered to the van drivers because of the maximizing their profit share. And I am of the opinion that it is definitely the responsibility of the school that they should ensure the safety of the kids, and for that they have the parent-teacher meetings, they have that dialogues with them. So this opportunity, they should use this opportunity so that difficulties are discussed and implemented by the school, keeping safety and security of the children in mind. And van drivers' antecedent must be verified at any cost.
All right, so also, the kidnappers often tell parents when that ransom call comes, I know of course it's being monitored by the police, the first instruction to parents whose children have been kidnapped or whose child has been kidnapped is don't inform the police. And parents are in a sort of catch-22 situation. Do they inform the police and take that risk and earn the wrath of that kidnapper? Because most of them, as psychologists say, are sick in the head, the reason why they do this. What should parents exactly do? So we also know that in the past, a student of St. Michael's, Sriram, was kidnapped. They went to a private detective, things went wrong, and ultimately the poor boy's body was found. That, of course, his father used to be a top executive of Binny. So most parents will have this doubt. So would you like to clear the air for them? What should they do? If they come to the police, what about the threat that kidnappers give them? It's because ultimately it's a question of one's own child, and logic doesn't always operate at that point. It's emotion. So what should they do in such cases, sir?
As you know that the kidnapper wants ransom, and safe ransom, so that he should get the money and he should be out without any problem. Whenever police is informed, so there is the feeling among the kidnappers that there is the possibility of getting caught, or during the that operations getting killed also. There's a fear, definitely, because of keeping that fear, they always instill that fear among the mind of the parents, that police must not be informed. But parents should be bold enough to inform quietly, discreetly, and a police is basically ready to cooperate them from any way. That whole idea is that not only to rescue the children safely, at the same time ensure that the kidnappers are caught, and that's only possible when police is informed. If police is not informed, what will happen? This industry will grow, because then we become very easy, that is easiest industry to to get more money without any work. So that has to be stopped. And second thing is that there should be fear in the mind of the kidnappers. It's not easy to do the kidnapping and get free. So parents should cooperate. Definitely they should say that they are not going to talk to the police, but discreetly they should open up channel so that police should be informed.
All right, discreetly, yes, sir, but sometimes easier said than done. That's what parents say, because of course it's out there in the media the moment the police come into the picture. But yes, I mean, that's very, very good advice and a useful tip for parents. Also, sir, we know that even though the police has appealed to various sections of society, I know the Chennai Police Commissioner has been, in fact, taking several sections of society into confidence: gym owners, hotel owners, bank managers, talking about ATM security, and now schools principals, school and college principals. But clearly there are no takers. Even when last time when you asked people to go verify the antecedents of maids, no one really bothered. So this time around, would you say that drivers' antecedents, will the police actually help in making a database of all drivers, of van drivers, of personal drivers of people, so that they ensure that nothing untoward really happens? How challenging is this exercise likely to be? And what if some driver comes to adverse notice and is sacked? Should they also then inform, should it be the duty of the parents or people concerned to inform the authorities in such cases?
As I told that antecedents of the van drivers must be verified, and not only that, there should be developed some kind of systems. For example, a lot of kids are coming, the autos. I don't know, and this is the response of the parents. How far parents are able to, identify the identity of those drivers, their antecedents. So parents have to also think, twice. Whenever they are engaging the things, and there is no harm to use the service of local police. Local police stations will definitely cooperate with them to find the details and all. For example, any driver which has been chucked out, school should inform the parents that this driver is no more with us. So please ensure that if that driver approaches you, don't use their services. Then what parents should do, the place where the kids are to be picked, I think one of the parents must go so that their kids are, put in the van. And when the van is coming back to, dropping them down, at that place also one of the parents should go. Or, they can have, pull system, car pull system, so that at least one of the parents from the colony should go pick all the kids and all. So that, while dropping and while receiving, at least one of the parents who is known to all the kids are available at the spot. Definitely that will help us to reduce all kind of, ransom.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Shakil Akhtar, for joining us. Despite that eventful night that lies ahead, I know there's going to be an ongoing operation to somehow get to the bottom of this case, to find those kidnappers, and most people in Chennai feel that strong action should be taken so that there's a suitable deterrent, that these things never recur in our cities. Mr. Velmurugan, you heard the Additional Commissioner of Police there. Very sensible advice. But how many schools really follow this, sir? Because it's one thing to say parents should actually go and pick up their children. We'll ask, of course, we've got a parent as well. But schools, many schools don't have playgrounds, let alone parking lots. So it's not possible for even a school van or even a private vehicle to drive into the school. Very often they have to pick them up. The police put a barricade outside. They pick them up from the road. That's when actually foul play can be can happen, because they can pick them up. You can actually intercept a vehicle at a traffic intersection. So most schools don't have a system where you can actually go into the school, pick up and drop your child safely, where you can screen visitors, where you can have a pass, a valid entry pass into the school. Do you have it in your schools?
See, because of the numbers, using entry pass is a bit difficult because large number of students had to come.
But for security, we have to do that, sir, because
yes,
airports also we can say the numbers and volumes.
Definitely.
And then when the terror strikes, you have to. So extraordinary situations call for extraordinary measures.
See, as the whole thing is becoming vulnerable, the schools it's the safe target and a very soft target for people to antisocial elements to do. But one thing which we can do is to have a staff in charge. See, don't leave alone the drivers and conductors. You have a staff in charge for every vehicle. We do that in our school because most of the kindergarten teachers are free. See, in the evening when our other children go, they see to that every children are boarding it properly. And of late we have said, let us bring the private van drivers also under the scanner. Let's have some gents teachers going to the road. For 3-4 vehicles, one staff can be in charge. Let us take that in our hands.
But will this happen? So normally there's a knee-jerk reaction, as I said. The moment some incident takes place like this, then you have people taking all these precautions. After 2 months, it will be forgotten. But kidnappers can strike at any time.
See, safety of a child is more important than anything. And as we run the school, we should be more cautious about the right things to ensure that the children are safe.
All right, let's ask parents as well, because this is a crucial period for parents, very, very worrying times. In fact, Ms. Jayashree joins us. She's a parent here. Ma'am, thank you for joining us. You heard the Additional Commissioner of Police there. You also heard a principal of a group of schools here saying that perhaps the time has come for parents to go and pick up and drop their children, at least one parent. Is this practically possible? What if there are two working, it's a working couple? Should they then take leave? Are you going to be doing that?
Definitely it is not practically possible on all days to expecting parents to receive the students. First thing is 60% of the population is using the private transportation, and it is more important to have the safety measures on place. It is not only the authorities, the school, but also the parents should be aware of what the public transport which the students rely is safe and the security measures are in place.
Absolutely, that's a valid point here, the practical need there. Very few students actually come by cars, or we're talking of carpooling. That's for the rich students. What about the middle class, lower middle class students? They use public transport. There are crowded buses. At bus stops, you could have these kidnappers lurking around there. So would you then, I don't know, tie up with the local police to see that these bus stops are properly patrolled, or perhaps that you depute teachers to be around at least for half an hour after the school bell rings, to be strategically positioned at bus stops, so that it's difficult again to monitor that, but at least at bus stops in the vicinity of the school?
We do concentrate on the bus stops which is near to the school. because we are on the highway, any accident or anything may happen. So we concentrate there, but moreover we have to sensitize the individual student, how cautious and how safe they have to be. Anything which is seen abnormal, how to react on it.
All right, Mr. Jayashree, is it possible for the Parent Teachers Association to actually come together if they can? I mean, there are so many parents there. If each parent, like if you have kind of a roster system for parents to actually keep an eye on certain bus stops, because this is not the ideal thing to do, but then as I said, these are extraordinary situations and they require those extraordinary measures. So is this something that is practically possible for the PTA to come together and have probably nominate, or ask for volunteers among parents to actually keep an eye on certain bus stops? One parent a day at a particular bus stop, in the, at least at half an hour when this, before the school starts, half an hour after the school bell rings?
Actually, the parents all should band together and have a good system, and then they should be aware of what are the security measures that would help the students to be safe, and then they can expect the school to initiate.
What have you done, ma'am? As a parent, measures. How does your child travel to school? What have you done?
My child is depending on private transport only, because
have you checked the antecedents of the van driver, ma'am?
Yes, it is for many years we know the person and we have his contact number, house address, everything before we make the students to go.
You are verified his house address also?
Yes.
All right, that's also important to not just have the house address, because how many of them actually cross-check whether they're actually staying in that place. We've also got a student, a class 8 student, Meera, who joins us live in our studio. Meera, thank you for coming, and I hope you don't have too much homework to do for the next day. But what do students feel after hearing this? One of your counterparts has been kidnapped, of course, has been fortunately rescued, but of course not the same story in Coimbatore. Very, very tragic end to 2 students there. Are you students scared? Are you all planning to, maybe when you go back home, go together as a group? Are some of those measures that you are doing, that you are contemplating?
Well, I feel that the school should also play an important role in training the students and the teachers in order to what to look for and how to react in such situations. Because if they, many schools cannot afford security systems and to hire security personnel, in such situations they have to rely on the teachers as well as the students report potentially dangerous situations. So they must also give training to us how to react in such situations.
All right. Also, would you then also ensure that students, at least the ones in class 8 or 9, also self-defense classes, you have drills during PT periods. Shian Hussaini, for instance, was training students in colleges. Is that also something that is practically possible?
See, we can give them some basic instincts how they can react, but still they should not.
You can't really take on an armed person who comes with a pistol or a knife. Even a driver was, in fact, they held a knife at his head and then they took away the child.
The best at that time is to be quiet and leave it to the parent to react. And as Sakila,
but have you installed CCTV, sir?
Yes, yes.
You have installed CCTVs.
We have installed.
In all your schools?
Most of the schools.
Not all your schools.
Not all.
Not all the 11 schools. In Chennai?
Schools. In Chennai, most of our schools. The most important thing is to sensitize our staff, at least to ensure that the children.
Sorry to button, but when we're talking of sensitizing the staff, again, because of the poor salaries that teachers are paid, most of them are in a hurry to leave the school and go to their tuition classes. That's a fact. How many teachers will actually, even if you ask them, they do it for a week or two.
No.
How many of them will stay back to ensure that every child is dropped there?
No, we should set a system, and last 10 years we have been doing. In fact, our school has got 120 private vehicles flying. It's a
database of all the vehicles.
It's a daily work for us, morning and the evening.
What do you do when someone comes to adverse notice? We won't stray into the area of child sexual abuse, but there are many van drivers who misbehave with the children.
Yes.
What do you do in such cases? Shakil Akhtar, the additional commissioner, says bring it to our notice. The moment there is somebody comes to adverse notice, tell us about that.
See, we have cases where some of our private driver conductors were drunk at times because they have a lot of free time. They get into playing cards, they get into drinking and something. And once we come to notice, we inform the police because we can't act on it. We have to be very, very careful because, and we should also strike a good rapport between the private drivers association and ourselves. And we should own their vehicle as if it is our own. And once we operate in that level, it's definitely possible.
All right, Mrs. Jayashree, do you really have a database of all the private vehicle drivers there? Also, the driver is usually a confidant. He even knows bank transactions he sent. A driver also is sent on errands, so he knows how much money is there, and even in bank accounts. So is it about time that also that we put the scanner, put drivers under the scanner? Have you done that personally?
No, it is not in detail we can do that. Only the school authorities should initiate even for private vehicles.
No, but the drivers, if they are appointed by you, ma'am, if the drivers are appointed by the parents, how much will the school do? How much can the school do?
All the school should have a rule that even irrespective whether it is a private transport or the school transport, they should have a system wherein the screening should be done only by the school. Because school have the restriction that after a certain class they should not use a school transport. So we are 100% relied on the private transport. So it is better if the school authorities, in case if in front of their school, if the private transport should park the vehicle and carry the children, they should do the screening for us.
How will they park, ma'am? If each school has about 30 or 40 private vans and several other cars, where is the space for them to park? Most of them are on the road blocking traffic. Students have to go. There's also the other danger of students being hit by vehicles passing by. These are practical problems. No school really has enough space, ma'am.
Yeah, correct. But the screening they can do. They are giving the ID card for identification whether the kid is going in a private transport or in a public transport or by the school transport. So in such a way they can have the identification of the drivers who do have in the private transportation also. So when they have the identification, they should do the screening. Then only the private drivers are eligible for the thing.
All right, ma'am. Also, the Additional Commissioner of Police, Mr. Shakil Akhtar, at the outset, when we asked him, he said that the parents who get these ransom calls should take the police into confidence. What would go through your mind? I mean, if something like that were to happen, because most parents will say, no, we don't want to take chances. If we inform the police, something could go wrong. Let's try and rustle up, get that cash and pass it on. After all, it's our child, only child in some cases. Is it easier said than done? Go to the police immediately, but in many cases that's the only option. That's the best option available.
That I agree.
So, all right. So that's something that you say, okay, the best, going to the police, you admit is the best option available.
It is the only option I can say.
All right. Mr. Velumurugan, also about getting private security guards for children. I know we've seen that in the movies where you hire private security people, especially those who travel by cars, apart from the driver, to accompany the children. But that's hardly, less than 5% of parents will be able to afford that. But at least the ones like in the rich ones are targeted, because the kidnappers actually target the industrialist. In this case, is a person who's a minor. So you really, the rich ones who have the money, do you think they should also invest in this?
See, the first and the best thing is to keep the child safe. For that, we should go how much long we can go, we should go.
Do whatever it takes.
Schools should ensure that they should have enough number of security personnel. For example,
how many should a school have, for instance?
See, every gate has to be manned by 2 to 3 of them. We should also have sensible senior officer. Like in our school, we have a retired superintendent of police in all our schools as the chief security officer, because they have been doing policing for years together.
In most cases, the school just about to cut costs. Now you have even the school fee thing, so everyone is trying to cut costs. So you'll have an old watchman there who's seen generations, who's been there when the parent was there studying there, and then this.
You can't cut cost on the safety at all, whatsoever it comes, because we have to be very sensible. It's not just having a security guard. See, if you are having an old man who can't even move, that
happens, sir, in apartments. That happens in schools, because, as I said, when the parents were studying, the same security guard will be there when they take their children.
That is as well not having them. It's only for opening the gate and closing the gate. No longer security systems are like that. We have to really invest on a better security system. Like as Sir said, we should have the CCTV in place. We should
also have the card-enabled access in schools in course of time.
We should have a sensible security man who should know how to operate. Unless we do that, it's not going to be that easy.
All right. So while there's an uneasy calm in Chennai, Coimbatore is in a state of panic. My colleague Sam Daniel now joins us from the textile city. Sam, how are the parents and police coping? How are they reacting to the tragedy there?
Well, to begin with, the Coimbatore police is presently checking the antecedents of these 2 people who have been arrested, the alleged kidnappers, whether they've had any kind of criminal record in the past, particularly any offences against children. As much we know now, both of them are married, and one has had several affairs with other women, and police are very shortly going to take them on custody for interrogation. They say the evidence is quite strong, both in terms of material evidence, eyewitnesses, and circumstantial evidence. So they say they're going to pursue this case very aggressively to make sure the case comes to a logical conclusion and the guilty is booked. they're going to target capital punishment for these two people. The commissioner specifically told that although they could not save these two lives, they're going to ensure that justice is got at the earliest. So they're going to appoint a special team of police officers who will be relieved from other responsibilities and who could pursue this case completely. Secondly, they're going to tackle the issue of safety across schools in Coimbatore. To begin with, they're going to screen all the drivers who ferry children to school and also all the cab operators. They're going to check for any kind of criminal offences in the past, any pedophilic offences, and also to make sure that they have a clear list of drivers, their numbers, their addresses, everything handy. Secondly, in fact, this evening they had a meeting with all the principals of schools from Coimbatore. They're going to sensitize them about various loopholes available in schools which kidnappers could exploit to abduct children. They're going to evolve a foolproof mechanism wherein nobody can impersonate or claim to be someone's friend or relative and abduct children. And thirdly, they're going to again meet parents and aggressively campaign in terms of developing a kind of a high degree of awareness among children. Specifically talking about this particular case, these two siblings had at least 3 opportunities where they could have screamed, where they could have told people passing by that they're being kidnapped, so they could have really escaped. In fact, the commissioner said, had these siblings known swimming, chances are there they could have survived, because these two alleged kidnappers, after pushing them into water, never turned back. So had they known swimming, they could have been served, so they could have been saved, or they could have survived. So that's the kind of multi-pronged approach the Coimbatore police is trying to address, and to make sure this does not recur, to make sure that every loophole in terms of child safety, both in schools and on the way to school, is plugged. Lastly, there is a high degree of fear factor in the minds of parents. I spoke to several parents. They all say it's incredible, because the only reason why many of them prefer to engage private vans or call taxis, as we call, is the fact that these vehicles come to the doorstep to pick up these children. Otherwise, school buses come quite early, and still they may have to take these children to the pickup point, which is practically difficult. But now many have realized the danger in that, danger in engaging this private vehicle, so they have decided to either take these children themselves or to switch to the buses operated by the school management themselves.
All right, thank you, Sam. Final question to Jayashri. Jayashri, in fact, I just got an email to our feedback account, someone saying that the police should take very, very strong action that will act as a deterrent to these kidnappers. What do you think the police should do with regard to these kidnappers?
It is only a capital punishment they can give, a severe punishment, which is an immediate punishment they need to provide. It is not like prolonging the case for years and making these kind of persons releasing. It should be a strict punishment and immediate punishment.
All right, and also Mr. Velmurugan, I think the media also needs to play a very sensitive role here, not look at TRPs. After all, TRPs cannot be more important than someone's personal safety, a child's personal safety there. And final words from you, what do you think, principals, what kind of appeal would you like to make to the Association of Schools and to principals?
See, the most important thing is we have to convene a meeting for our staff and inform them how to talk to kids in situations like this if abnormal things happen in their routine activity. And also the local police can be invited as a part of our parent driver meetings, and at least once or twice in a year we can have it. And police has got rich experience of policing. They can definitely
trust the police, and also maybe parents to also keep a tab on, if the child doesn't come back within 1 hour, to immediately try and find out. So there should be some habit where the child immediately informs the parent, makes that phone call to the office, say that I've come back home, whatever. These basic precautions, nothing is really foolproof, but at least these basic precautions will help.
Parents know the arrival time. If there is a small jitter in the time, then they have to just check what is happening to the kid.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Velmurugan, for joining us. Thank you also Jayashri and Meera for joining us, and to Mr. Shakil Akhtar, who is now still working, trying to hunt down those kidnappers. Evelyn, is back to you.
Thanks, Sanjay. Well, at least after that episode of Kidnapped, we did see Kirtivasan, the kidnapped student, safe and smiling. And thanks to the city police for that. Plenty more news and updates lined up on News Tonight. We'll be right back.